8-bit joystick. The Evercade Alpha is a ginormous beast. It is part very smart and part very stupid. The Alpha is a bar-top style miniature arcade cabinet based on the Evercade line of emulator consoles. So what makes the Evercade ecosystem special is a Linux-based operating system and that all of the games are officially licensed and released on physical cartridges. You get the retro experience of buying a game on cartridge, putting it in the slot and playing it. There's also a healthy line of classic retro games and some newly independently produced retro games. It's like a designer concoction for retro game nerds such as me. Their previous systems have either been handheld consoles or consoles that you hook up to a TV. They're doing something different with the Alpha, in that it is a very large mini arcade cabinet that has a selection of built-in games, and it has cartridge slots in the front for adding more. There are two different flavors of the Evercade Alpha, and they have a different selection of built-in games. There is the Evercade Alpha Street Fighter Bar Top Arcade that comes with Street Fighter II Champion Edition, Super Street Fighter II Turbo, Super Puzzle Fighter II Turbo, Street Fighter Alpha 2, and Street Fighter Alpha 3. And then there's the Evercade Alpha Mega Man Bar Top Arcade that has Mega Man The Power Battle, Mega Man 2 The Power Fighters, Carrier Airwing, Final Fight, Knights of the Round, and Strider. Now, Evercade has made some deals with Capcom, which apparently doesn't want them to release their games on cartridge, but Capcom is okay with having them built into the system. So you have to choose between the Street Fighter Evercade Alpha system or the Mega Man themed Alpha. So I'm surprised that you can't actually toggle the dip switches for the arcade games. There's a coin limit and a competition mode, so I hope you like Street Fighter on the arcade difficulty because that's what you're gonna get. Now the Alpha costs $250, so it's already halfway to the cost of a PlayStation 5. So for $250, they should have all of the included 12 Capcom games on one unit, especially since the other games are not available on cartridge. Now today, Evercade just announced a partnership with SNK, so let's hope that they're actually going to release the Neo Geo games on cartridge because I do not want to have to buy another one of these. So let's talk about the elephant in the room. It is ginormous. It is over 14 inches tall, and it is quite a hefty beast made out of wood and plastic. The bar top form factor is supposed to be a halfway point between a full-size arcade cabinet and a traditional mini console. At the top, there is a light-up marquee that has replaceable faceplates. Then, on the front, there is an 8-inch diagonal 4x3 IPS screen. The screen is quite good at playing 4x3 aspect ratio arcade games, but Tate mode games have some pretty big bezels on the side of the screen. You can't rotate the screen or the systems like you can on the Evercade EXP. The software is pretty good at displaying games at the proper ratio and size. This really makes arcade games look great, and owning this behemoth really makes me want to pick up more arcade game cartridges for it. I greatly enjoyed playing Moon Patrol on this thing. Ironically, the out-of-print Namco Museum collection, which has the Famicom versions of various classic Namco games, looks great, since many of them were vertical Tate mode arcade games that were redesigned for a 4x3 aspect ratio for the Nintendo Famicom. I was expecting the IPS screen to be brighter. Also, there's no way to adjust the brightness of the display. So the big selling point is the built-in arcade-style control stick and buttons. These are full-size arcade parts, and you can actually swap them out and customize them as you see fit. Apparently, there was a limited edition that had Senwa parts installed, but I got the regular one since I had to pay for it out of my pocket. So the convex arcade-size buttons are actually a lot more sensitive than I would have liked. There are times that my fingers were resting on top of the buttons, but it registered as a click and launched a bomb in Truxton. The bat-style arcade stick is just the right size. However, the tension is just not as tight as I'm used to. There were a couple times that I missed some special move inputs in Street Fighter that I'm fairly certain that would have been recognized properly on my Hori joysticks. I actually would have liked it if there was a little bit more to the base to place your hand, and I sort of feel like the edges of the unit digs into your hands a little bit. You know, if you're going to shell out $250, you should expect to have a high-level arcade quality fight stick. There's no excuse for not delivering on perfection if you're going to charge $250 for a console. I was pleasantly surprised to see that my Retrobit Sega Genesis USB controller was instantly recognized and I could configure the buttons to play a mean game of Street Fighter on it. There's only one joystick, but you can actually play some Street Fighter against someone else by using a controller or two. On the front, there is 2 Evercade arcade slots where the coin return would be, and the system is powered on by hitting the insert coin box. There's also a headphone jack, 2 USB ports, and a volume toggle on the front. There are speaker holes on the side and a USB-C input port on the back. Its biggest strength is the Evercade library, and it's also its greatest weakness. There are a lot of really great retro games that I would love to see released on the Evercade, but they're not on there. Many of the Evercade collections are curated and are a premium fun retro release. The other Evercade systems are handhelds or consoles that you play with the TV. This thing is too big to fit in my IKEA cubby holes, and it isn't going to fit in any drawer, so I actually have to try and figure out a place to put it on top of my dressers and such. It is an excellent thing to set out on a bar if you actually have one in your place, and it makes a hell of a centerpiece on your coffee table. So if it was portable, it would have a battery. But it doesn't. So you actually have to plug it into either a USB adapter, which it comes with a worldwide one with various international plugs and options, or pretty much use any USB-C cord that you have. Now, I do have a portable power brick that I can plug into the back, and it's not really portable, it's more luggable. So the Evercade EXP has HDMI output, but there is no HDMI output on the Alpha. This likely has to do with the licensing agreements that Evercade has, because there are some games that only work on the so-called portable systems and not the console systems. Again, for $250, it should have an HDMI output. At $250, the Evercade Alpha is supposed to be an out-of-the-box premium experience. However, when I opened the ginormous box, I noticed that the manufacturers put this stretchy, opaque plastic film on the screen, which was a real pain in the butt to remove. So even if you get the film started, you need to actually take out the screws to get the ring of plastic around each screw, and then the bottom of the film is tucked into the plastic and into the crease. So I actually had to use a razor blade to try and cut it off, and then had to clean it up with needle nose pliers. Again, this should not happen for a premium $250 experience. They also did a really poor job hiding the assembly screws with these plastic plug posts in the particle board. And I've seen game systems where they hide all the screws a lot better. Another issue is ergonomics. It works great if you sit in a chair and you lean forward into it. And it's possible to play it with it sitting on your lap or lying down, but it's pretty awkward. And I wouldn't want to do it for a long time. Luckily, one of my IKEA side tables is about just the right height that I can sort of lean back into my chair and play it comfortably, but you really have to give it some thought into the body mechanics of having something that is this size. The real question is, who is this for? Is it for Evercade fans that have already bought into the Evercade ecosystem? Or is it for people who are looking for a bar-top miniature arcade cabinet? The fact that you can play additional games on it by sticking in a cartridge is an added bonus. I did enjoy the delicious irony of playing Street Fighter-inspired bad fighting games on an actual Street Fighter miniature cabinet. Now, despite me vocalizing this issues, this is still probably the closest that I'm going to get in having a real miniature arcade cabinet. So I can actually play with this and then put it away, and it doesn't mess up your feng shui quite as much as the bigger arcade cabinets. Hey, if you like this video, you should totally check out my review of the Evercade EXP. So we make videos like this each week, so make sure that you click that subscribe button and let YouTube know that you like this video by hitting that like button. Thanks for watching. This is 8-Bit Joystick. Stay awesome, play retro.